Ever wondered what exactly is a coronavirus? It's a question that's been on the minds of many. To put it simply, a coronavirus is a type of virus. It's not a specific disease, but rather a category of viruses. This family of viruses got its name from the Latin word corona, which means crown. If you were to look at one under a microscope, you'd see crown-like spikes protruding from its surface. But what makes this virus noteworthy? Let's delve deeper. Coronaviruses, in simple terms, are a big family of viruses. Now let's delve a bit deeper to understand what this really means. Coronaviruses are not exclusive to humans. In fact, they can infect a wide range of species, including animals like birds and mammals. It's like a universal party where everyone, unfortunately, is uninvited. The infections they cause can vary in severity. In humans, they might cause illnesses as mild as the common cold. Yes, that sniffle and cough during the winter could very well be a type of coronavirus. But on the other end of the spectrum, they can also lead to more severe diseases. You may have heard of some of them like severe acute respiratory syndrome, or SARS, and Middle East respiratory syndrome, or MERS. Now here's an interesting fact. Coronaviruses are zoonotic, a fancy term, isn't it? Well, it simply means that these viruses can be transmitted between animals and humans. Picture this. A virus makes a jump from an animal to a human and then spreads among humans. This is how new viruses can emerge and cause pandemics. But let's not forget about the animals. In animals, coronaviruses can cause a variety of diseases affecting multiple organ systems. For instance, in birds, they can cause severe respiratory infections, while in pigs and cows, they can cause diarrhea. You might be wondering about how these viruses got their name. Corona in Latin means crown. If you could see these viruses under a microscope, you'd notice they have a crown-like appearance due to the spike proteins on their surface. Now let's address the elephant in the room. The recent examples of coronaviruses, SARS and MERS, have indeed caused severe diseases. But remember, they are just two members of the large coronavirus family. Most coronaviruses in humans only cause mild symptoms. So, are all coronaviruses dangerous? Not exactly. It's a common misconception that all coronaviruses are dangerous. In reality, most coronaviruses are not harmful to humans and usually cause only mild to moderate upper respiratory tract illnesses, much like the common cold. Did you know that there are hundreds of types of coronaviruses out there? But don't worry, most of them don't affect humans at all. They primarily circulate among animals including pigs, camels, bats, and cats. Sometimes, though, these viruses evolve and make the leap from animals to humans. You might have heard of SARS and MERS, two severe illnesses caused by coronaviruses. These are exceptions, not the rule. They gained global attention because of their severity, but it's important to remember that they represent a small fraction of the many types of coronaviruses. One thing that's important to note is that the severity of the disease can vary from person to person. This largely depends on their immune system. Those with strong immune systems may experience mild symptoms, like a runny nose or a mild cough. However, for people with weaker immune systems, such as the elderly or those with underlying health conditions, coronaviruses can pose a more serious threat. So, while it's true that some coronaviruses can cause severe disease, most are far more benign. It's a wide and varied family of viruses, with most members causing little more than a sniffle. Now that we understand coronaviruses a bit better, what can we do about them? Prevention is always better than cure, especially when it comes to viruses like coronaviruses. So how can we protect ourselves and our loved ones? First and foremost, we must practice good hygiene. This means washing our hands regularly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water aren't readily available, a hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol will do the trick. When we cough or sneeze, it's crucial to cover our mouth and nose with a tissue or the crook of our elbow and dispose of used tissues immediately. And in these trying times, we should avoid close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness. But perhaps the most important preventive measure is staying informed. Trustworthy health organizations are constantly updating their guidelines as new information becomes available. Remember, knowledge is our first line of defense against any virus. Stay informed, stay safe.